All right, Daily Wire has this. Actress Julianne Moore claims that the Trump administration banned a children's book that she wrote from schools run by the Department of Defense, but a representative from the organization responded by saying that it's one of several books currently under review and no permanent changes have been made yet. The celebrity wrote a lengthy Instagram post about her book Freckle-Faced Strawberry and how she believes it was removed from schools without good cause. The story follows a young girl who tries to get rid of her freckles before learning to accept herself and her differences. Moore said it was a great shock for her to learn that her book was banned. Quote, Freckle-Faced Strawberry is a semi-autobiographical story about a 7-year-old girl who dislikes her freckles but eventually learns to live with them when she realizes that she's different just like everybody else. It's a book I wrote for my children and blah, blah, blah. I'm particularly stunned because I'm a proud graduate of Frankfurt American High School, a DoD school that once operated in Frankfurt, Germany. I grew up with a father who's a Vietnam veteran, spent his career in the U.S. Army. And she's upset that her book is banned. There's only one reason I'm reading this story. There's one reason I like this story. I like it because it shows you just how utterly vacuous the book banning narrative is on the left. They go around screaming about book bans, even though no book bans have actually been put in place anywhere in the country. It's a total figment of their imagination, completely made up. And the book bans that we hear about are all situations like this. You know, has Julianne Moore's book been banned from these DoD schools? No, they're not banned. What's happened is they're conducting a review to decide which books they want to have available in their school classrooms and in their libraries. And maybe her book about freckles or whatever makes the cut. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, it's not being banned. Okay. Do you know how many books are published across the world every single year? It's something like 2 million books. And so how many total published books exist in the world today? I have no idea, but it's certainly tens, if not hundreds of millions. How many of those books are going to be put in an elementary school library? You take any one single elementary school library, whether it's a DoD school or not, how many of the tens of millions of books in the world are going to be in that library? Like a few dozen? Maybe? So does that mean that every other book, all of the many tens of millions of books that aren't in the library have been banned? If so, then that means that for as long as schools have existed, tens of millions of books have been victims of bans. That means, by the way, that I am the victim of book bans. I have 4 published books, including a children's book. The vast majority of schools on earth, it'll shock you to learn, do not carry any of my books, even though I am the most revered and celebrated and acclaimed children's author in the world, certainly living today, probably of all time. There are very few elementary schools, if any, that carry my book. History, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution. Did you study these things in school? Probably not. Or even if you did, maybe it's time for a refresher. Time and technology have changed a lot of things, but they have not changed basic fundamental truths about the world and our place in it. That's why I'm so excited that Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses in the most important and enduring subjects. You can learn about the works of C.S. Lewis, the stories in the book of Genesis, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution, the rise and fall of the Roman Republic, or the history of the ancient Christian church with Hillsdale College's online courses, all available for free. That's right, they are free. I personally recommend you sign up for Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. This brand new online course is unlike anything Hillsdale's produced before. You'll explore how many ideas in American politics today are rooted in Marxism and also how they differ from Marxist thought. It's vital that we take these ideas and historical figures seriously so we can see the injustice and evil inherent in them and are better equipped to defeat them. Start your free course, Marxism, Socialism, and Communism, today. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/Walsh to start. It's free, easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/Walsh to start, hillsdale.edu/Walsh. So, in other words, I guess I'm effectively, a Holocaust survivor. I'm a victim of Nazi Germany. If you listen to the leftists, apparently, this is Nazi Germany stuff, that they're not carrying Johnny the Walrus. The fact that your child's elementary school doesn't carry Johnny the Walrus means that I have been banned. They have essentially taken my books and thrown them in a giant pile and burned them. Not carrying my book is really no different. It's no different. A school not carrying my book, Johnny the Walrus, is no different than the government going into people's houses and confiscating the book and shooting them in the head for having it and then throwing all of my books into the sea and me along with them. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. I mean, that's how this works, right? So the whole book ban narrative is just total, absolute nonsense. And it never ends. It just continues. They never stop. And that's the thing with the left. They never stop. They continue on. The book bans, they don't exist. It's not real. It's not happening. It's not a thing. What we're being told is that every school in the country needs to carry every book that's ever been written. Because if they don't, if there's any books that aren't in there, then it's a ban. It's a book ban. Every school library needs to be like the size of Dallas Cowboys Stadium so that it can store every book that has ever been written. If not, we're in Nazi Germany. Free speech has been destroyed. And this goes for bookstores too. I mean, did you know that there are millions of books that Barnes and Noble doesn't carry? Millions. Actually, Barnes and Noble doesn't carry almost all books. There are almost no books that Barnes & Noble carries. Basically, every book ever written, with rare exception, is not available at Barnes & Noble, which means that they have banned almost every book. If you call Barnes & Noble and say, hey, do you have this book? And they say no, well, that means they banned the book. That's what it means. That's how this works. That's what the left is saying. It makes a lot of sense. Thanks for checking out this video. If you'd like to listen to my full podcast on the go, you can check out The Matt Walsh Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.